Okay, so this little video is going to talk to you about the explain section if you were absent today. This will help you with the explain section. In the explain section, we're going to just talk about the investigation 2. First thing we're going to do is read and annotate the article to learn more about photosynthesis, and then complete the lab conclusion questions using what we learned in the article. So if you click on this, that'll take you to the article. Otherwise, I have it here. So as you learned in the last task, all living organisms do cellular respiration. They convert the food that they eat into energy that they need. In investigation 1, you saw evidence of one byproduct of cellular respiration. So circle the substance that made your BTB solution turn yellow in the chemical reaction below. So that would be your carbon dioxide. Plants, like other living organisms, do cellular respiration, but they also conduct another important chemical reaction for ecosystems called photosynthesis. During photosynthesis, plants use energy from the sun, as well as atoms from water and carbon dioxide, to build a molecule called glucose, releasing oxygen in the process. This creation of glucose is what allows plants to grow. The photosynthesis chemical reaction looks like this. Glucose stores the energy that was originally from the sun in chemical bonds until it is needed. To access the energy, plants break down glucose through the process of cellular respiration, just like animals do. The only difference is the animals had to eat the food to get the glucose first, but the plants already have it. So let's watch a real quick video on.
Ever wonder where most of the food you eat every day comes from? Well, about 60% of the food you eat is carbohydrates. As you can probably tell from its name, carbohydrates contain carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. But where do these atoms originally come from, and how do they join together to make delicious foods like fruits and pasta? It actually all starts with the air you are exhaling at this very minute, specifically the carbon dioxide molecules. Plants are going to breathe in this very same carbon dioxide through pores in their skin called stomata. Plants drink in water from their roots to get the needed oxygen and hydrogen atoms, and their electrons, in order to build carbohydrates. What is that thing? Well, that's a special plant organelle inside the leaves of plants called a chloroplast. It's green because of a special light-absorbing pigment called chlorophyll. Each leaf has about 44,000 cells, and every cell can have anywhere between 20 to 100 chloroplasts. That's up to 4,400,000 chloroplasts. By now, you've probably guessed that we're talking about the process of photosynthesis, and you might be wondering when the sun is going to make its entrance. Let's go back to that original molecule of water. The plant has to split this molecule of water so that it can get electrons from it. But the plant can't pull that water apart by itself. It needs help from the high-energy rays of the sun. So now that the chloroplast has all the building blocks, carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, and electrons, it can use them to go through the rest of the steps of photosynthesis, to transform that original carbon dioxide gas into a simple carbohydrate called glucose, C6H12O6. That little glucose molecule then helps to build bigger and better carbohydrates like cellulose. Cellulose is a type of carbohydrate found in plants that our body cannot break down. We call it fiber, and we eat it in vegetables like lettuce, broccoli, and celery. Plants use cellulose to keep themselves strong. The plant could also turn that glucose into starch, a large molecule that stores energy for the plant. We love eating starch from plants like potatoes, corn, and rice. So you see, when we eat plants, we're actually benefiting from photosynthesis. The plant makes things like starch, which we eat and then break back down into glucose, the first form the plant made. Then, the mitochondria in our cells, powered by the oxygen we breathe, can turn glucose into pure energy molecules called ATP. ATP powers all work done by each and every one of your cells, things like communication, movement, and transport. But why do we have to turn that glucose into ATP? Well, think of it like this. You're excited to start your summer job at the local ice cream stand, but your boss has just told you that she is going to pay you in ice cream cones. What are you going to be able to do with those ice cream cones? Nothing, which is why you kindly ask to be paid in dollars. ATP is just like dollars. It is the currency that all cells of life use, while glucose is, well, kind of like ice cream. Even plants have mitochondria in their cells to break down the glucose they make into ATP. So, as you can see, humans and plants are intricately connected. The air we breathe out is used by plants to make the carbohydrates we enjoy so much. And, in the process, they are releasing the very same oxygen molecules we need to breathe in order that our mitochondria can break down our delicious carbohydrate meal.
All right, perfect. So that helped you understand, hopefully, the cellular respiration and photosynthesis work together to help everybody kind of survive. Okay. So this is what happened, or what should have happened in the investigation two. When you look in the glass jar, this is what happened in light. So in the light, it went back to the blue because the cellular respiration happened, photosynthesis happened, gave off carbon dioxide, and then it went back to blue, used its light energy. This one turned yellow because in the absence of light, the plant itself had to use photosynthesis had to give off the carbon dioxide to survive. So that the plant itself gave off the carbon dioxide, which is what turned the water yellow. Okay, so in this one, the light actually turned the picture back to blue. Okay, so if you want to watch this experiment, all you have to do is click on the picture, and that will take you to the experiment to kind of explain it a little bit better. So then in here, what you're going to do is, to better support your explanation, draw models of each experimental setup to show how the cycling of matter and the flow of energy through the Alodia plant. So you're going to use the arrows and the labels to show all the parts of the experiment, including the molecules. All right, so that's what you're doing today. So I gave you an example on this slide. So this is an example of some words that you should use and what you could write for your description, as well as an example of your picture. Okay. So the Alodia in light, it stayed blue after 24 hours, and then your sun's energy comes in, your CO2, your oxygen, and your H2O. So this is an example of a picture that you could replicate if you understand it, to kind of help you understand. So I want some flow chart. I want some energy coming in to the Alodia plant. H2O is coming in and out of the plant. Oxygen is giving off. CO2 is going in, that sort of thing. Okay. But where is the glucose? So this plant is missing out on the glucose. I want to know where that's going at. So can you talk to me about that? All right. So what's going on in this process? This is cellular photosynthesis. This is photosynthesis going on here. Okay. Cellular respiration is also going on in there amongst itself. So what happened in the experiments? What did you learn, and what questions do you still have? Okay.